So, Darren talks about the dry heat. I flew in last night, and there was a couple of other members that were in the audience that were here. It's my first time ever. I do a lot of flying. Coming out of Vancouver, we had, I think lightning was forecasted for our flight, so I didn't know this, but apparently what they do is they look at the deviations that the aircraft may encounter as a result of trying to avoid some of these weather systems. And I was prepared for the worst, not the best flyer at times. And it was actually pretty good flying. And what I didn't know, and this first time it happened to me, pilot came on and announced just as we were coming into Prince George Airport that we couldn't land because we had 500 pounds of extra fuel that we had to get rid of before we could land because it wasn't safe to land. So I had a nice 20-minute sightseeing tour around Prince George, and we landed safely. So thank you, Darren, for emceeing this. Darren isn't the first time he's emceed, and he does an excellent job. And I'd also like to thank you for participating today, taking time out of your busy schedules. Shows to me your dedication and commitment to improving safety in our industry. Also like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Lheidli T'enneh, and Minnie, thank you very much for the warm welcome. Lastly, we have the 3 conferences around the province. We have one in Vancouver Island, we had one in Kamloops 2 weeks ago, and then this one. And these come together through the dedicated work of volunteers and other people looking at what they see as probably the most notable, interesting things in terms of improvements in health and safety, new programs, and general information. So I'd like to acknowledge the committee that has put their time into this, and also like to acknowledge the generous support of our sponsors. Without any of support of our sponsors, we would not be able to put these conferences on for free, and there's not many conferences that people can attend these days for free that provide these kind of speakers and quality of information. When we look at the theme of today's conference, which is safety responsibilities, everybody's role, and I'd like to point out I had to make some chicken scratch. And traditionally what I do before conferences is I've got my little red book and my Bible for everything else that I have in work, and first time I forgot that in the hotel room. So I'm going to be running off a couple of points here with respect to today. So safety responsibilities, everybody's role, and for me when I hear that, and I talk to others about that, at times it seems a bit of a cliche in terms of it's everybody's role. So to me, I like to turn that into an action. And my challenge for all of us today is, as we turn that into an action, is to really ask ourselves, what are we doing as organizations? What are we doing as individuals to create a culture of engagement at our workplaces where everybody is free and comfortable to talk about what we need to do as an industry, as an organization to improve health and safety. And Darren mentioned earlier as far as some of the frustrations at times where it feels like we're making some good advancements, 3 steps ahead, 1 step back. Aaron and I were talking about that this morning. And when I opened up the conference 2 weeks ago in Kamloops, it was a bit of a down note in what we saw there, and I'm talking specifically in what we've seen in forestry as of recent. And forestry has done some very good work over the last number of years to improve its record in terms of injury rates and fatalities. And last year was actually one of the best records that we've seen as an industry. The start of this year has not been so good, and we've got 3 fatalities year to date. We had 2 faller fatalities, and then 1 individual who was performing some maintenance on a pickup. And at that time, it serves me to really reflect on, is there anything else that we're missing here in terms of solving the ultimate goal of ensuring that nobody gets, essentially killed at the workplace. And I know that message is probably a grounding one, but as we go through today, what I would ask you to do, just in terms of how we can impact this, because every day we go to work, I don't think anybody anticipates that people are going to get seriously injured or killed. But when it does happen, and you talk to those individuals that experience that, it's a life-changing event. And I wouldn't want to have anybody go through that where we can avoid that. So challenge for you today is take some of this information in and hear and learn and apply to your workplace next week on what you can do to essentially start engaging people in those discussions. Every one of us has a role that we can do that. We're all leaders in terms of how we can influence and impact people in the workplace. And really, as I see it, we're ordinary people that can do extraordinary things, that if we all work together with the goal of where we need to get to make sure that all of us get home at the end of each day is something that we can achieve. So thank you for attending, and enjoy the day.